One final video for the day while I still have a little sunlight. This is also another follow-up to the video, Are we healing or just processing our emotions? And in that video, I talked about becoming the washing machines in our belly area to be able to process not only our own emotions, but collective emotions. Now, you cannot really be this wonderful washing machine if you are not breathing and, most importantly, releasing the belly. Don't know why I'm getting a little choked up there. Releasing the belly. This is, we walk around, I don't know who started this, but we walk around so tight with our stomachs pulled in, trying to be skinnier, looks fitter. And I just don't think that that's natural. But spiritually, to be all tight like that all the time, number one, your chakras down there, all three of them, totally blocked. So you cannot be a washing machine with your belly all tight. And with your belly tight like that, there's no way you're going to release and heal your fears. So there is a practice. And by the way, have you noticed Buddha's belly? Okay. Very relaxed. Okay. And why is that? Because he is clear that there's a practice of breathing and releasing the belly. Many, I think it's the Tibetans, I don't know who, but Richard Rudd, the creator of the Gene Keys, or the receiver of that transmission, talks an awful lot about releasing and breathing into the belly. And I have to say, I tried working with the belly a couple of years ago, and I must not have been ready or just didn't hang on to the practice long enough. And it didn't work. It kind of worked, but I kind of gave up. And what I mean by it kind of worked was I remember, let me back up. The practice is totally relaxing the belly. And breathing into that while you're walking around in your daily life, right? Now, I tried doing that. I went to the grocery store and I released my belly in the parking lot, and I immediately felt all this fear. It was really strange. And so I just quickly brought it back up. I mean, it was a strange experience, and that I knew that there was something to this belly thing. But after that, I would walk around my backyard for like 20 minutes at a time, just rubbing my belly and breathing into my belly, and nothing beyond that, nothing was working. But this year, when we were asked to work with the belly again, I did, and it worked completely. But I'll tell you what I noticed. It isn't just about releasing the belly and walking around with your belly hanging out and breathing into it. That didn't work for me. What I had to do was I also had to release, excuse me for using these terms, the anus and the perineum. Releasing that as well as the belly. You're not talking about letting it all hang out, but there's this, you'll find this natural tension, but you've got to release your base chakra as well. Otherwise, I don't think it really works. Anyway, it's a practice of walking around, releasing that base chakra, opening up and relaxing your perineum and your anus, and releasing the belly. And I got to tell you, first of all, just in a physical, structural level, what I noticed is it flattened out. I have a very curved back. It flattened that out, and it also brought my shoulders back down, releasing the anus and the belly at the same time. Okay? It's not comfortable, but you will get used to it. Okay? And you'll find that natural tension between those two body parts where you're not letting your entire belly hang out. And it kind of forces you to bring your hips forward at first. Anyway, it's a totally different way of holding and carrying your body, but it feels right. It feels very grounding. That's another thing. You release the perineum and your belly, and you immediately ground. So that's one thing. But also what happens, so I started doing this and releasing that base, and I have to tell you, just within a week or two of that practice, I remember I was sitting at the computer, and I'm sure during that time lots of things came up, right? Was sitting at the computer, and I stood up, and I felt like a weight had been lifted, and I immediately thought, the fear is gone. A big hunk of fear somehow left me, and I wondered if this could really be true. And I asked Richard Rudd, who I'm in a group, and he's teaching us, and I asked him, is this what happens? And he said yes, because I couldn't believe it. Just breathing and releasing the belly and the bottom, somehow fear just left me. A big chunk of fear. And so my point is, you can't really be a washing machine for the universe. You can't really process and heal your own emotions with this very tight belly. Okay, so do it. Release the belly and release the beast. And here's another thing. It has to do with your heart's desires and stuff. If you can't really know what your true heart's desires are without clearing out the belly, the lower chakras first, because the chakras work as like a conveyor belt. This may not be the right term, but information flows from the lower chakras up to your heart. And if you've got fear and clogged chakras and you haven't released the belly, then all what the heart is receiving is fear-based desires. Okay? If you fear security, then all of your heart's desires will have an essence of trying to get more money or whatever. So you hear what I'm saying? Your heart's desires are tainted by the fear and the emotions still held in your lower chakras. Okay? So if you haven't done the belly work, the heart will not be clear. Okay? So it's a conveyor belt. Release the belly, opens those chakras, starts working up here, then it starts clearing out those false desires, and then your heart really kind of settles down. It actually settles down. You have less desire. Okay? Hope I made sense. Look at that. Beautiful sunshine. I love the sun. Is there anything else I want to say about the belly? I think it's much better for your back. If you have lower back issues, really just try this. Obviously lower back issues comes from fear. And I I will tell you, my lower back issues have really lessened out a lot from walking that way and from that big fear release. And that hasn't come back. I feel this emptiness now, this solidness and emptiness, and very grounded way of being. So give it a try. Release the beast.